Hi, my name is John Lobb. I'm an IT and SharePoint consultant, and today I wanted to talk about the benefits of using a bot to share information in your organization. You might have a FAQ or a wiki or a governance policy or a knowledge base that might be on SharePoint that you really want to be able to share maybe more easily with people in your organization. The idea is that it could be highly specific things in your organization that you want people to know and be able to access, but often these traditional ways of storing this information really fall short because people really don't know where to go to find the wiki or the knowledge base or the FAQ. And not only that, but it's boring. There couldn't be anything more boring than searching through an FAQ just to hope to find the answer that you're looking for. So um, to solve those issues and to provide a better way for sharing this type of information and to make it much more accessible and maybe even a little bit fun for people to access is by using a bot. Now I'm going to use an example of Teams in this instance, but it also works for Skype for Business, it works for Slack and a lot of other applications. But here I'm going to bring up a knowledge base channel that I've created here in Teams. So I'm going to at this at the name of this bot that I created. I'm just going to ask a question. What is SharePoint? Okay, so I got an answer back. SharePoint is a knowledge management and collaboration platform. Okay, well, that's fine. What's interesting about this, though, is this is actually a question that I have personally curated. So I've created a database of questions that is specific to our organization that I think people might ask. The advantage is it's right here in a chat window, so people don't have to go very far. They can just go to this bot and ask their question. But let's use maybe a little bit better example. Let's say, for example, I want to know where I can find my company's open enrollment documents. So I'll ask that question. Now, I don't even have to specifically frame the question perfectly. What's happening is Azure is actually using their cognitive services to interpret the question. So I'm going to frame this question a little bit differently than I actually had posed it originally. And I always have to send an at message to the bot. So how can I find? So what the service should be able to do is interpret my question in a way that provides me a very customized answer. So in this case, I created a very custom location. Maybe we want to point people to a special location on their SharePoint site, and or maybe there's somebody internally to reach out to. But the point is that I'm able to actually create very large and comprehensive questions and answers, taking them out of a FAQ or a table or a list or even a SharePoint site or even a website, and I'm able to put them here into a bot for people to ask questions to. I want to show you another example here. If you look at this example, so um, I actually found online these frequently asked questions, and there's some here about Office. I also found here some about Office 365. So you can actually integrate questions and FAQs online on web pages into the bot. So it'll scrape the page and it'll provide answers based on the questions. So for example, let's pick one here. Let's go to Office, um, and let's say I don't know, what is a product key. So we'll type that into our bot and let's see what it comes up with. as a product key. Here it pulled it right off of the web page. So it explains exactly what a product key is. So I think this is very powerful. It's really a good way to be able to let people share information in a very easy way. Now, the thing I like about this too is that there's some personality that you can build into the bot. And this comes out of the box. You're able to put personalities into your bot. So I have some examples here. So for example, if you were to type in the bot, "You are awesome," you would have 3 different possible profiles you could pick: the professional, the friend, and the comic. So what I've done, I've picked the comic for this bot, and so you're able to kind of instill a little bit of a personality into the bot. So in this example, I'm going to just type in a message, and the question is going to be, "Who made you?" So here is it's almost like an Amazon.com response. It's a very personal response, and you can almost all carry on a conversation. So I haven't tried this yet. Let's say, "Are you real?" Oops, and I need to address it to the bot just like it were a person. Okay. So you can see it's some pretty humorous um, responses here that you can get, and I feel it really adds to the just the interpersonal communication aspect. I can also I've also got a few other things. So let's say, for example, um, this is another specific company question, but I'm going to say, "What can you tell me about Ray Steen?" Let's see what the bot comes up with. Okay, well, so the bot knows a little bit about Ray. And so I really feel like this is a powerful tool. Again, we can scrape websites. We can, communicate effectively. I could be communicating with others in this same thread, and we could be, sharing information. If somebody hit me up with a question, and you could reply back to the bot, and they would see that reply back, and it would also point them to the bot too as a source of information. So, powerful tool. I really like it, and so it really just comes down to, okay, well, what does this cost? Well, it's actually integrated into the Azure service. Now, you do have to take some time, and you can pick from the personalities. Those things are baked in. You do have to obviously upload or create the list of questions and answers that are specific to your organization, or at least have a website that you want to point to with FAQs or other types of questions to draw from. But even though there's a little bit of work to be done in creating the list, to create the bot is actually fairly straightforward. Now, costs are for 3 locations. If you're just picking 3 different locations to source information or manage documents, then the service is free. So, for example, what this means is that here in my example, I actually have a list I created personally with some additional questions which are part of the Azure service, the bot, and I referenced 2 websites, so 2 URLs. So that was 3 basically managed documents. It's URLs or documents. You can also upload an Excel list of questions that would count against your managed documents. So for the free tier, you can do 3 sites or 3 documents or any combination thereof, and they can only be 1 MB each, which actually is quite large for a very simple unformatted Excel list, for example. And that is actually a free charge. Now, if you do want more than that, if you want to access multiple sites or you have multiple documents and you want to have all of those integrated into the bot, then you do have to pay a monthly fee of $10 per month. And that is estimated. There is a charge based on the minutes that are on the Azure service, so it will be plus or minus about $10, but that's roughly what it will be. The other thing is it's limited to 3 calls per second, so that's like 3 questions being sent per second. Those are the limits on that tier. The other thing is there is a quota on the free tier of 50,000 calls per month. So if you have more than 50,000 expected queries to the bot in a month, then it will stop working. That's quite a bit, so most of us won't hit that, but it resets then after 30 days. So it's a very reasonable cost, free for most people and most organizations that want to take a look at it. Of course, there is some setup and development fee associated with that, but it's not that bad. So powerful tool and at a very reasonable cost. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, I'm John Lobb, and I'd be glad to chat more. Thanks.